Episode 41. We're talking news. We're talking finishers. We're talking all kinds of rigmarole. We're also giving stuff away. Tune in to episode 41. Holy cow, and welcome to just another effing podcast. I am your host. I'm hard like penitentiary steel, breaking necks while I flex my sex appeal. I'm the JFB, baby. James from Boston.
And it's me, the patron saint of professional wrestling. I'm gingered up, and I'm bubbly, and I'm ready to go. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
We are joined today, ladies and gentlemen, by probably one of the best predictors in our prediction league in AFW. He is the effing world champion on the wreckage side of AFW. Ladies and gentlemen, Trey J. Styles, baby, tell us all about yourself. Welcome to Just Another Effing Podcast.
Well, I've been in AFW prediction for about 7 weeks, and I am the effing world champion. We're making Wreckage the A show here. That's my job. So it is great to be here with both of you guys. I love it. I love what you do. Big fan.
Awesome.
So let's kick this off.
All right. So before we get into all the other stuff that we do, like news and all that other stuff, every month we do a giveaway. November is no different. It's kind of our way of saying thanks to everybody that's on the mailing list, everybody that listens to the show, everybody that subscribes to the YouTube channel. We're giving away your pick of a t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees. So, which means you get to pick the tee. We will go ahead and put it on your back, all thanks to effing wrestling. And so I got the little thing right here, and I'm going to press it 3 times. And let's see who we get. Who is going to be our November winner? It is going to be Jonathan Perry. Jonathan Perry, you have won.
Perry.
Whoa.
Yeah, awesome.
He is officially our winner for the effing wrestling November giveaway. We like to give thanks to those who thank us. So I will get in touch with you, Mr. Perry, and by email, and then you pick your shirt, and I'll have it shipped and sent and delivered to you. Hell, if you live even close enough to me, I might deliver it in person. And speaking of Pro Wrestling Tees, we have a Pro Wrestling Tee store. We hawk our wares all the time. But you always hear about these amazing stories about the customer service, how great Ryan Barkin is when it comes to taking care of the customers. And so I'm gonna hand it over to the bubbly son of a bitch known as Canada Dry to lay down the story about his experience with Pro Wrestling Tees. Go for it, Canada Dry.
Okay, so I also have to reveal something to everybody. I get a bit emotional here. So my dad is dying of cancer, and it's going to be my last Christmas with him. And so what I did, thanks to our friend Alex Haney, we made a Canada Dry shirt and a Canada Dad shirt. And we are going. So I had them made, and so I ordered them, but I got a notice saying that they might not arrive for Christmas, and I was like, oh crap, like that's not good, like this is so important.
Yeah.
And so I messaged them right away saying, listen, I need these shirts for Christmas. It's my last Christmas with my dad. And so the next day, Pro Wrestling Tees sent me a message and said, your item has been rushed. We have shipped your shirt. And just like that, bam. And so it'll be arrived for Christmas. I emailed them right away. I told them, you know what, Pro Wrestling Tees, that is the classiest thing I've ever seen, and it really touched my heart.
Yeah, I mean they go they go above and beyond. Guys who are at shows where T-shirts sell out that are specific to that show, they have reprinted if you show proof that you were at the event. I've had a couple shirts that were misprinted. I sent it back to them, and there was never an issue. So a huge shout out to Ryan Barkin and every single person that works at Pro Wrestling Tees, from customer service to the guys that print to the guys that ship. They are
And
I
know my dad, he's in the hospital right now, and I'm sure he'll thank you as well if you could.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're a class act all the way. So, with that said, let's go on to a little bit more cherry business. We are going to go ahead and talk about the news. That's
We
right.
need to get some real music when we get the news going, right?
We got the news. We got a sound bit that goes with the news now on our podcast. It's awesome. Charlotte Flair apparently is a heel in real life. She was the one who broke up with Andrade Di Idolo. So she's living the heel life. I thought this would work, but apparently not. So
we'll let Trey J talk on this first.
Well, here's the thing. Charlotte has had a very storied history in her relationships with wrestlers. As most of you guys know, she was with Bram for a while.
Yeah.
Married him. And that ended poorly.
Yeah.
And a lot of the blame was put on Bram for that. Yeah. And of course, Bram has been out defending himself. It actually cost him a lot of work in the wrestling business. I don't think the same thing is going to be true for Andrade. I do know that they struggled early on. I said I do know that they struggled with the language barrier between the two of them in the early going, but it seemed like they were able to work things out on a lot of other common interests. So this was one I really thought was going to go the distance. So
Trey J, was Bram the one that Charlotte said was physically abusing her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so could that be a lie? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, Bram claims that he never, but of course, let's be real, who's really going to admit to it? But it was just a lot of controversy in that, and I think there was even in Ric Flair's autobiography there was a line about it, and Bram was really going on and making the rounds about, no, I'm not that guy, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So.
Honestly, I feel for Andrade, but you know what? He is better off to be away from Charlotte Flair. No one needs that kind of heat of Charlotte Flair, like that monkey on your back.
That girl is toxic, ladies and gentlemen. Toxic with a capital T and a capital X. Toxic. So our next one.
I don't know what it is, but I have this sixth sense that I know a wrestler is toxic before anything gets out. I just have this feeling about it. And I always hated Charlotte Flair.
He's got toxic radio. He's got a toxic radar. Canada Dry does.
Toxic radar. We need a shirt. Radar. Toxic radar.
I feel terrible because I feel like because of his feelings towards Thunder Rosa, we're gonna find out that Thunder Rosa as a trainer is worse than Paige's mom at some point. And it's it's all gonna be Canada's fault.
We're dropping the bombs on Thunder Rosa here. As you know, Canada Dry is not a fan of Thunder Rosa.
He is not.
Trey J is not. Our friend Kenny is not as well. So,
all right, let's go on to news number 2. Tough Enough apparently is coming back following a trademark by the WWE. Which is interesting because they also made the announcement that they're going to do NILs for student athletes in colleges. So I wonder if this is going to be kind of an amalgamation. They're going to kind of combine these two. I personally like Tough Enough. I thought, it's entertaining drama, scripted reality wise. I think the NIL is a lot more interesting, to give these student athletes money to get ready to wrestle in the pros and be able to pay them. So thoughts?
You mind if I jump in on this one real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so The NIL thing is such a huge hot topic, and especially in college sports, because I don't know if you guys keep up or not, but when they had the whole issue with college athletes not getting the royalties and the payment that they deserve from the NCAA football games, the NCAA basketball games, the jersey sales, and the jersey sales actually had some of the player, a lot of the jersey sales actually had some of the players' last names on them.
Yeah.
And those I want to say kids, but those players weren't getting paid at all. They weren't getting a cent from it. But the schools, the NCAA, the companies that were putting this out, they were making billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So the idea of the NIL is really, really great. The downside is you're going to run into the problem that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be disappointed because NIL is only going to be for your most marketable individuals, which means you still have to find a way to create that person as a brand. And not all players can do that, which means that the NIL is a great thing as far as a start. It's a great idea, but you're looking at, once again, the top 1% of the top 1% that are really going to see gains from this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, that it sucks as a college athlete to not be able to even take a meal from a coach because you're breaking a rule. It really sucks. I played soccer in college, and for me, it sucked. I mean, I wasn't getting bags of cash from alumni and donors like pro football, like college football players and college basketball players, but it stunk because if you were $5 and you didn't have enough to get something to eat, you had to go somewhere, and usually you hit up coach because coach has got cash, and so. But Tough Enough, I think, is going to be interesting just because we saw them when they were in Vegas for the last big pay-per-view. They had big tryouts there. So it's interesting to see how they're going to do this, because I know like Gable Stevenson has 1 year left of wrestling it at Minnesota, even though he signed with WWE. So, it'll be interesting to see how that NIL goes. But as in terms of scripted drama, watching people who have no wrestling background whatsoever trying to become a professional wrestler is just hilarious. Like it's comedic gold. The bloopers alone.
But
do you guys remember ZZ, the crocodile wrestler from Last Tough Enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like those guys, it's like you're creating these characters, and maybe they don't translate necessarily if they were to get signed. Yeah. But I mean, Patrick Clark, aka Velveteen Dream, before all his stuff. Yeah, I mean, he was incredibly promising on that show. Yeah. And even like it kind of went full circle. You had that dust up between him and Hogan. Yeah. And then fast forward a couple years, the WWE 2K20 commercial where Velveteen Dream and Hulk Hogan are standing side by side. It's like to see things like that shows you that progression. It also gives a lot of people that extra chance. And right now, WWE is going to have to go into full into something new when it comes to recruiting, because the word around the business is it's the shakiest thing. It's like when you're going from zero to something, that's one thing. But if you're saying, okay, well, I'm doing okay here, I go to WWE, I might be on this main roster, but then for whatever reason, I'm off, and like now for 90 days, I can't do what I do. That's a long time of a layoff.
Yeah, that's 3 months.
But what I do like about this NIL thing is, like you mentioned, Trey J, it allows those secondary players to sign a contract with WWE and get paid while they're training.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Gable's supposed to debut it at WrestleMania because it falls right after the end of wrestling season. So that's going to be a very interesting thing.
Yep. All right, next one, insert foot into mouth. Booker T, corporate lackey, says that Triple H is far better than CM Punk. I get it. I mean, I understand. Booker T is a company man. He's on their pre-shows. He does stuff for them through WWE.com. He's all over the place for WWE. So I get you have to kind of put the corporate stance because he's a feeder system as well for WWE stars, Ember Moon being one of the biggest ones to come out of his wrestling academy. But really,
Thunder Rosa.
honestly, Triple H better than CM Punk.
Guarantee you this: they cut off his feeder system. He gets fired. You hear a whole different story from Booker T.
Oh yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
The other thing too is Booker T kind of has to kind of stand up for Triple H because Triple H is beating Booker T, whereas CM Punk hasn't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're also kind of boost your own legacy a little bit with that. But like if we as the informed fans, I mean, two things that are always going to be true. At a certain point, you got to stop listening to Bubba Ray Dudley, and the second, you can't really take too much of what Booker T says seriously.
Amen.
Booker T is clickbait
Yeah.
when he says things like that. I mean, people are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, now he's back in the news," because what else is Booker T going to be in the news for? Reality of Wrestling created this buzz for the Sherry Martel Classic that he's putting on. And Sherry deserves it, and she deserves a whole lot more because she's one, like when people talk about underrated folks in the business, Sensational Sherry is beyond underrated.
Absolutely.
In every company she's ever been in. So it's definitely good for this, but Booker T needs to bring eyes to the product, and going along with the mainstream idea is not going to do it. I mean, here's the truth, and people. This is going to be my hot take, and this is going to be the thing that's probably going to get me so you guys never invite me up here again. For 3 months, Enzo and Cass were bigger stars than Triple H in WWE.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. That automatically gets you another entry into guest hosting on Just Another Effing Podcast. I agree 100%.
Enzo and Cass, in rebuttal that, Enzo and Cass were at the start of their careers, and Triple H was winding down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at like some of these guys and what their overall impact of the business is. What is Triple H's best match? It's gonna take you a minute to kind of like go through.
I mean, for me, it would be Taker. Him and Taker.
For me, it's the Shawn Michaels street fight, but it's not one of those matches that people like immediately go to. You know, Taker is easy because it was Mania, and technically with Taker, there's 3 choices for that match.
Yeah.
And as far as a pure wrestling standpoint, WrestleMania, I think it was 17, was like the best one that they actually had from a wrestling standpoint. Everything else was gimmicked up.
Yeah.
Triple H as a star, and this is kind of like where this is going to go into that weird level here. Triple H as a star, his career mirrors Jay-Z. Okay, like when Biggie and Tupac were alive, Jay-Z was not the top guy. Biggie and Tupac die, or Stone Cold and The Rock go to other ventures.
Yeah.
Now, who's left that is from that era that has the legitimacy of that time period, but can kind of build a bridge to that next generation? Oh, look, it's Jay-Z, aka Triple H, who comes in and becomes that guy who was like, okay, I can mentor people. Okay, people have to come in. Oh, I remember what it was like to do such and such. Because here's the truth: without Mick Foley, Triple H doesn't break through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only that, but Shawn Michaels is pulling for him. He's got the cred. And then after that, he marries Stephanie and gets even more pull.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like, he's the bridesmaid that you see at every wedding. And so you begin to realize, okay, maybe this person is at least star adjacent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I totally agree. All right. So Beth Phoenix has decided to leave NXT as a commentator, which is really sad because I think she gave a very unique opportunity and a very unique look at what you were seeing, what was happening in the ring. She gave you that experience that she has in the ring on commentating. So my question to you guys is, with her leaving, does this mean she's leaving because she's going to enter a program with her husband Edge versus Miz and Maurice?
I think let's keep these comments about 20 seconds each so we can move on to the next thing here. Sure. But I think she was great in NXT. Having that women's voice there, she was great.
Yeah. Beth was incredible as an advocate for the women on commentary. I love Barrett. I love Vic Joseph. They didn't have the expertise necessary for it. She did. I'm not as excited to see a program between her and Maurice because we have seen Maurice versus Beth Phoenix before.
Yeah.
And so now seeing it 10 years later is not going to have the same effect.
Yeah. You think she's got another title run in her?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
All right. Nick Aldis, before NWA, their pay-per-view this weekend, has stated that the Aldis said that the Crockett Cup will be coming back sometime in the spring. I am an old school wrestling fan. I was alive and well when the Crockett Cup was happening. I remember watching the Road Warriors take the inaugural Crockett Cup. How exciting is it that we're going to get an old school, if you will, an old school Crockett Cup tournament back in the NWA? I'm stoked. I'm ready. Let's do it right now.
I think it's so awesome. I'm surprised that WWE didn't own that.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. But to it's part of the legacy of NWA. It's freaking great. Who's going to win it?
I love the fact that they're doing it. I think that anytime you can take something that's going to bridge between older fans and give the newer fans something to look forward to is great. But Nick Aldis being the person that announces stuff, he is coming off as a great value Kazuchika Okada. Because, Okada is like the main spokesperson for New Japan. So he's the one that normally announces things like the King of Pro Wrestling Championship. And so now with Nick Aldis doing it, it's kind of like, we see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not slick. We see what you're doing.
Well, at the NWA pay-per-view, we had two big surprises. The first one was friend of the show, Natalia Markova teaming up in a tag team match at the NWA Hard Times 2. While she did not pull out the win, it was great to see Natalia. Yes. She did amazing in that tag team match, man. She was all over the place. And that face plant
we have a highlight video I just posted this morning to our FN Wrestling YouTube page. Shows everything awesome she did in that match. It's about a minute. All her great signature moves are there.
Yeah. And Matt Cardona showed up at the last minute. Mike Knox lost to Trevor Murdoch, and then Matt Cardona, this so-called king of death matches, laid out Trevor Murdoch, picked up 10 pounds of gold. That's how we ended the pay-per-view. Matt Cardona is back in NWA, baby. I love it. I love to see him and Trevor Murdoch.
I want to see Matt Cardona with the belt. I personally don't like Trevor Murdoch with that belt.
Yeah.
I never liked Trevor Murdoch.
Same here. That belt looks better on Aldis than it does on Trevor Murdoch. But Trevor Murdoch's got that old school. He's got that old school look and that 70s look. Out of weight, probably smokes, probably chain smokes, a bunch of cigarettes. But man, he knows how to kick some ass. In the ring.
Justin is saying you guys are doing a great job. Always love watching your podcast. Thanks, Justin.
He is awesome.
To say quickly. Natalia Markova is coming on the show sometime this December. I haven't got the date solidified yet, but she is coming on the show this month.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So let's get down to the nitty and the gritty, if you will.
Before we do that, can I make one question now? One more thing?
Yeah.
Because you were talking about surprises. AAA Mania, Taya Valkyrie appeared.
That's true.
And that's kind of a big deal because, this is fresh off of her 30 days coming off NXT. And her going back to the Taya Valkyrie name, her going back and immediately kind of restarting her feud with Deonna Purrazzo, this time in AAA.
Yep.
This can mean a lot of different things for wrestling because, as you know, Deonna Purrazzo is a AAA Queen of Queens champion. She's got a number one contendership with Mickie James coming up. So we could definitely see a lot of Taya Valkyrie popping up in different places because with John Morrison being out of WWE now for 90 days.
Yeah.
I mean, is Johnny Dynamite coming? Is Johnny Dynamite possibly a thing? Johnny Rampage? I mean, we could see so many good things. And, everybody wants to see Britt versus Deonna. So anything that can kind of bridge that is going to be amazing for us.
Yeah. I'm a huge Deonna Purrazzo mark. Of course, she's from the Northeast. So I got to give love to the people from the Northeast. She rocks. I would
Yes.
love to see that. But yeah, Ty Valkyrie showing up was brilliant. What a
Definitely.
great pull for AAA to bring her back into their loving arms, if you will. So let's
Definitely.
talk about episode 41.
Classic line
Please.
from Alex Haney. Please, no.
Oh, the Scott. He is hilarious. So let's talk about episode 41. We're going to talk about our top 10 finishers of all time. And like last week, we said, you know what? Let's take the top 4 and let's let the fans decide, because we can sit here and bicker and argue, and that would be a 3-hour episode. Ain't nobody want to watch 3 hours of us yelling and screaming at each other. This is not ESPN.
I'm
get
cute,
it?
so
Me and JFB, we had second week in a row, we had an argument about one of the
Yeah, we did. We'll get to that, of course. But I figured let's go ahead and just do a top 10. We can all talk about the top 10 real briefly, and then who we associate with that finishing move. So the top 4 were picked by the fans, not by us. And we're going to start off with number 10, which I think, in all honesty, is a devastating finishing move, and it's this.
Talk about family values. You'd like to hit me, but you don't have the insights to do it.
How can you go wrong with number 10, also known as the super kick? I will take it the tray.
I want
to give it to Canada first. Since you showed the clip of Sean kicking a Canadian icon, I cannot take this first. So Canada, it's on you first.
I remember that show. That was when wrestling was awesome. That was a great moment. Just them back and forth. But the super kick, I definitely associate it with Shawn Michaels, and now I associate it with the Young Bucks. So mostly Shawn Michaels, though. He pretty much dominated that move.
Trey, talk about the super kick, yo.
Am I a terrible person because I still associate the super kick with Gentleman Chris Adams?
No.
I'm about to say,
that guy could knock a head off.
You and me are old school fans.
Yeah.
So, to me, Chris Adams was the guy who, when he did it, no one else was doing it. So it was like, what did we just see? Like, what was that? Like, his would pop. His was just like, and it happened. It was like so quick. It was like lightning quick.
Yeah.
I definitely look
and
at the fact
that we have that Alex Haney.
Alex,
it's no longer a finisher. It's hate for the Young Bucks.
I'll have you know that Dolph uses it every once in a while as his finisher. Go ahead, Trey.
To me, I don't think the Bucks ruined it. I feel like Dolph ruined it because he just could not pick up a win with it for the longest time, even during his championship run.
Yeah.
But definitely the Bucks, the Usos.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to think. There were a number of people in Impact that were using it.
Oh yeah.
I know Rich Swann, his delayed super kick. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like the person will be on their knees and he'll kind of hit that like stretch back, like almost like a shotgun super kick. And those things, the number of different variations that you can catch it. That whenever you have a wrestling move that surprises people, it's always going to be timeless. So yes, definitely.
So here's my take. So since the dawn of time, a well-timed kick to your opponent's head was a great way to knock them out. However, there is something different about a super kick. That extra thrust of power to their face will guarantee that once the body hits the mat, it's an easy 1, 2, 3. I also picked Chris Adams because there's super kicks, and there's the kick that looks like you just decapitated the guy's head and sent it sailing 30 feet into the air and into the crowd so they can play with it like a beach ball.
When you guys say old school, you're not old school, you're ancient when you're using Chris Adams because would be Shawn Michaels.
We are of the ancient tribe, my friend. Yes. Let's go to our number 9. This was a heated debate, but I got it on the list because I fought like hell for it, you son of a bitch.
And I was
Canada Dry. Here's our number 9. That is right. Ladies and gentlemen, it can be called the clothesline. It can be called the lariat. It is a devastating finishing move. That is number 9. Canada Dry, since you wanted to veto the hell out of this, USOB, you go first. Tell us about the clothesline or the lariat.
Well, when I think of the clothesline, the lariat, I think the clothesline from hell by not JFB,
Not me.
JBL in the mid 2000s, he made that move devastating, and nobody can do it as good as JBL. Maybe Stan Hansen, but JBL did it well.
What about you, Trey?
Definitely Stan Hansen. But if I could, the fact that you use Okada, like I feel like I want to point out the ripcord in general, the ripcord knee, the ripcord, the Rainmaker, like you just showed, and then when Bad News Barrett used to do the bull hammer, like those, when you add the ripcord, it just adds a little bit something extra. Like at the point, like when you can ripcord somebody, like that person's done already. Yeah. And it makes those moves look so much more crisp, so much more awesome. Even when Seth Rollins was doing the ripcord knee, like those, like the ripcord aspect, don't get me wrong, like the lariat is always timeless. But that ripcord added into it.
I want to change mine. Sure. I'm changing mine to Hangman Adam Page. The
buckshot lariat.
Awesome.
Here's my take. There's something to be said for a perfect clothesline or a lariat to be executed. Think of it as a car crash. You ever watch a car hit a wall, a tree, an immovable object, and the car bounces back 300-400 yards and comes to a skidding halt? That's exactly what it's like to take a lariat from a professional. Stan Hansen, JBL. I mean, we're talking some amazing guys who did the lariat or the clothesline. But to me, nobody perfected it better than the ripcord Rainmaker from Kazuchika Okada. That guy knew when the Rainmaker happened, it was over with. That match was done. Very rarely do people actually kick out of the Rainmaker. And for good reason, damn it.
And for this one, I also want to give a shout out to Dynamite Kid, because when he did that, you'd be hurt.
Oh yeah. Well, we're talking Dynamite Kid during the gas years, when he was guzzling gas like there was no tomorrow. Yes, his clothesline was devastating. So we're gonna go to our number 8.
Before we go to number 8, like one of my greatest memories though, in as a child, when I was about 8 years old, there was this neighborhood bully, and like he was chasing me, and like I ran through this lady's yard, and she had one of those old school clotheslines.
Yeah.
Bro, he got caught. I was just like I ducked. He didn't, and he was done. And like I think that's why like that move is always gonna have a special place in my heart, because it saved my life.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
Give it up to the old school clothesline for hanging your clothes to take out a bully. 1, 2, 3. All right, here we go. Number 8.
Uh-oh, look out. Oh. Whoop. Oh, man. He blasted SD.
Of course, we are talking about the DDT. Trey, go first. Give us who you think exemplifies the DDT and how great the DDT is as a finishing move. And if Alex Haney comments that the DDT is weak, he's out of just another effing podcast.
But he does have a comment on Okada's.
Oh, geez. Yo, this is easy for me. Without question, standing head and shoulders above everyone else when it comes to clotheslines. When it comes to DDTs, Raven. Yeah. Raven's even flow DDT is not only like the greatest move, but it's the greatest move that's ever been put in a video game. It was the greatest move of ECW. It was the greatest move during Raven's tenure in WCW. It was the first move to get a 2 count on Goldberg. It was like the even flow DDT is just, and the fact that the way that he would kind of like do it, sit down, and then just kind of like pause. to show you how devastating the move was. It was just, it sits head and shoulders above all DDTs. Like, I love Jake. I love everybody else who's done DDT. I love Sting's reverse DDT.
Yeah.
But for me, the fact that you on WCW versus WCW NWO versus the World, the fact that you could hit an even flow DDT 4 times in a single special.
Yep.
That did it for me.
Canada.
I'm going with the originator, the inventor of the DDT, and that's Jake the Snake Roberts. To me, it's always going to be associated with him. I love the story of the DDT invention. It was actually an accident. The guy slipped, he fell back, and that's how it came to be.
Yep.
And Alex Haney will back me up on that as well.
So
here's my to you. Bill said to you, Raven's DDT would be destroyed nowadays. A production is too close up. And this is pure Haney right here.
Yeah, this is Haney. He's being a hater at this point.
Does anyone know what the DDT stands for? Did anyone figure that out?
Devastating, ta-da. That's what I'm going with.
I remember we would always debate what it actually meant.
I think it's like deadly or devastating something. I can't remember.
Really, it was just named after the poison. You know, the DDT poison that used to kill bugs and stuff, and now it's illegal in like 38 states.
You guys remember when Jimmy Hart was going around, ban the DDT?
Yes, I do remember that. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, here's my take. Sometimes the simplest moves often become the deadliest or the most feared finisher. And with Jake the Snake and was his DDT could come out of nowhere or it could be through a chain move. That's what made it so great. For me, it's always going to be Jake the Snake Roberts for me, associated with the DDT, only because I watched him do it like 4 or 5 times. And me and my buddies used to go in a alleyway and set up mattresses, and we would practice wrestling moves. And I tried to do a DDT, and I knocked out Jimmy Dormady. I knocked him out cold because you don't know how to take you don't know how to take it, let alone give it. But we revived him. He was all right after about 10 seconds. So.
I also have a story similar to that. We were playing I think it's called British Bulldog, where you have to have 2 people on each line, on each side, and one guy in the middle. And I ended up giving this one guy, grabbing him. He's trying to get loose, and so I just fell back and gave him a DDT. Everyone was like, "Oh!"
That is it. The guys from Just Another Effing Podcast, putting people's lives at risk. That is what makes us over.
There you go.
Let's go to number 7, guys. Number 7 was a bone of contention, but it's in here anyways because it just needs to be. Ladies and gentlemen, number 7.
Say a damn thing about Daddy.
The stunner, ladies and gentlemen, the Stone Cold Stunner. Don't get me wrong. I understand the importance of this and how important it is to wrestling history, because when you say stunner, regardless of whether or not you use the word Stone Cold, automatically people associate it with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He legitimately made it his own. So let's go with Canada Dry. Give us wax poetic about the stunner, if you will.
So who has not tried to give their friend, their neighbor, a Stone Cold Stunner? I think you have not tried to do it. Everyone's tried to give their friend or neighbor a Stone Cold Stunner. That move, just seeing Vince McMahon get a stunner is freaking awesome. Austin stole it from Whipwreck and Booze It. They also tried to change the name, that it didn't stick. They tried to change it to the name of the move to 316, but people kept calling it the stunner, and it stayed the stunner from his days as Stunning Steve Austin.
Yep. Trey, what do you think about the stunner?
The stunner is iconic, but it belongs to Stone Cold. And every time I see Kevin Owens do it, I dislike Kevin Owens a lot more. Like, it's just one of those things that sometimes some things just have to stick with certain people. Like, you can't just, I'm gonna take that. It's like, no, it doesn't look right coming from you.
Yeah.
So, Stone Cold Stunner made some of the greatest moments in the Attitude Era, and I think we should all be glad that it exists.
Yeah.
Well, they almost gave it to Becky Lynch instead of him. So
yeah.
You said they almost gave it to who?
They almost gave it to Becky Lynch instead of Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad they definitely didn't do that.
Kevin Owens, because it was much better on him.
I mean, I love Stone Cold's, and don't get me wrong, it has its place in history, and rightfully so. Ember Moon, the 360 off the top rope stunner that she delivers is really great. But I'm siding with Haney on this because you son of a bitch, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he literally stole it from the innovator. Mikey Whipwreck legitimately innovated that move, and he did it with perfection and precision. And you didn't get guys overselling it, and that's what ruined the stunner for me from Stone Cold. When you had guys flipping over 4 or 5 times after receiving a stunner, it lost its cool factor and just became more of a joke for me. But Mikey Whipwreck, holy Christopher Columbus. Watch some ECW stuff.
Wait. Are we not going to discuss the best deliverer of the Stone Cold Stunner? Disco Inferno?
Oh, geez, Disco Inferno. Let me tell you about Disco Inferno. I know you're going to bring this up because this is your argument. Disco Inferno, that guy literally, how in the hell is he still even alive and running his mouth on podcasts is beyond my belief.
Well, I was just saying as a joke, the chart buster.
Oh, I know you were.
Okay.
Disco Inferno and the Disciple. Those were your 2 arguments.
Hey, the Disciple could have been somebody if it wasn't for Hogan.
That's true. Well, a lot of people could have been something if it wasn't for Hogan. Let's get to number 6. I think we can all agree. I'm going to show 2 for number 6 and then talk to you about the actual move. So here's the first one.
That point got boozled. One's going for a ride. And he connects.
And
a stalking Kofi Kingston in us. Oh, it's the Sister Abigail's kiss. There's a mistake about this man. Here's why.
All right, we're talking about the move itself. It is called the face plant. It is a simple, basic move. You learn it in wrestling school, but the variations that you can achieve from a face plant is enormous. The RKO, the diamond cutter, the pedigree, the Styles Clash, the curb stomp, literally could go on and on for about 10 to 12 minutes on the different variations of the face plant. Some people call it the RKO, the diamond cutter. So Trey, wax poetic on the face plant finisher. What's your favorite one?
My favorite one is Styles Clash by far, because AJ Styles is my favorite wrestler. I love the RKO. I especially love the out of nowhere memes that came up right around the time that the Superman Batman movie was coming around.
Yep.
Because when they show Randy Orton RKO on a plane, I'm like, this is when we've reached the level of saturation in the pop culture. So definitely a big thing. Yeah. I love Bray Wyatt's. I can't remember if it was like the Emerald Fusion, but I remember Edge used to do it.
Yeah.
And he used to do the thing where he holds their arm out and then grabs their head and then face plants. Yep. Technically the Spanish Fly is a face plant in my opinion. So you're right. It's way too many variations but definitely AJ Styles RKO are top 2.
Cool. Canada Dry. You were savoring for this one.
I really like Randy Orton and Diamond Dallas Page with the RKO and the diamond cutter. I remember Canyon when he started using the diamond cutter. He was running. They had him running around. He was giving diamond cutters to old ladies, all sorts of stuff like that. But as a props to our friend of the show, our good friend Natalia Markova, I'm going to go with the X Factor finisher that she does.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. That's good. That's good. That's a good pay homage to our friend of the show, Natalia Markova. Listen, the face plant is the stupidest, easiest move to do, and the variations are absolutely amazing.
And they all look good.
Yeah, for me, it's the swinging inverted face plant done by Bray Wyatt, Cody Rhodes, and Damian Priest. It's just got that extra panache because you're turning the guy over so he lands on his face. It's a devastating move when it's done right. I've seen a lot of indie guys try to do it, and it looks like a monkey humping a football. It just does not look good at all. So that is my take. I'm going with Bray's.
Between Bray Wyatt and Cody Rhodes, I'm going to say Bray Wyatt's is so much better because of the dramatic kiss for it.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And Damian Priest, Damian Priest is fast. Like he does his super quick.
Yeah.
And he's slowly becoming a big fan. I'm slowly becoming a big fan of his.
And Cody Rhodes, do not do it on a burning table again.
Please do not do a crossroads on a burning table. Don't use a burning table.
Would have been much better for him.
Let's also make sure we mention Miz's skull crushing finale.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Skull Crushing finale is another one that is
like putting a full Nelson with it.
Great move.
Yeah, putting a full Nelson with it. It's so much better than Jeff Jarrett's stroke. That I like it. So
yeah, the Miz is awesome. I love the Miz. All right, let's go to our number 5. Here it is, number 5.
You know what, Heath? I gotta agree with you. I'm looking at the hottest free agent right now. Daggone right I am. Sign it up. Get it paid. Give me paid, Shane. Woo! Go! Rhino!
I'm going to take this one first because I want to wax eloquently about this. For years, every Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday, we have legitimately watched offensive players get nailed by flying tackles from defensive backs and linebackers since the dawn of NFL. And now it's part of wrestling lore and wrestling history. There is something about wiping your opponent off the face of the earth with a well-timed spear. I could go into everybody who's ever had one, but only one for me exists, and that is the Gore from Rhino from ECW. Legitimately looked like he was having his opponent in half. He was going to cleave right through them. That's mine. Canada Dry. Go ahead and wax poetic about the spear.
Well, can't say Goldberg because we don't like him, so we're not going to say that. The Gore is great. I just remember Paul Heyman. That's a Gore. It's a Gore. I think I'm going to go with Edge. At first, I didn't like it with Edge because he didn't have that bulky sort of look like everyone else, but he's made it work.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Edge.
Cool. Trey?
It's really easy to go with Roman because he adds the extra theatrics with it. And I think I like the theatrics more than I like his actual spear. But if I had to go with who performs the move best, Impact Bobby Lashley and currently Moose. I don't know what it is about the extra flip that goes with the Impact. It looks so much more devastating.
Awesome.
Like, and it also probably has to do with the fact that a lot of the guys in Impact were a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So they could take that move so much, it was so much more, devastating. Look at these guys. Like you were putting these guys through things. I don't know if you guys remember AJ Styles versus Rhino. They had that last man standing match where like AJ like got up, but he was just like, no, I'm just gonna stay down. And he stayed down for like the 10 count. And then he was just like, and he was like, he flicks Rhino off and Rhino lets him get up, and you think AJ's just like done with it, and then Rhino just comes out of nowhere and spears him through a table. Gores him through a table. It was like those are some of the moments that I and it's just because when you see those guys just totally, like you said, get wiped off, it's like, well, you gotta get the scraper.
Greatest spear that wasn't that never happened would be the spear that Goldberg was supposed to give Chris Jericho at a pay-per-view where his shoes would fly into the crowd. Had they allowed that to happen, it probably would have been the greatest spear of all time.
Yep. I agree.
Can I say what I think the greatest Goldberg spear is? I know you guys don't like him, but can I say what the greatest Goldberg spear of all time was?
Sure.
The one he gave to Brett when Brett had the armor on.
Yeah.
That is because Brett won.
Yes. Brett had the full body armor on. Goldberg does the spear. You like hear something and Goldberg's just out.
Yep. I loved it. That was great.
Whoever wrote that bit, it was beautiful.
Yes.
It sounds like a Russo thing.
It was.
I think to me it does.
Yeah, was that a pre-Russo? That was a pre-Russo thing, though, wasn't
it? Was that pre-Russo? Okay.
That was pre-Russo.
That was Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, maybe it wasn't Russo.
We want Brett, so he came out.
All right. Let's go to our number 4. The move coincides. It's a good solid number 4. So let's go right to it.
Now this is the way, Tony and David, that you do the figure 4 leg lock by the master, Ric Flair. Woo!
Let's face it, that helicoptering son of a bitch knew how to throw a submission move like there was no tomorrow. Trey J, give us your thoughts on the figure 4 at number 4.
The figure 4 will always belong to the Flair family. Hopefully, when Charlotte has a kid, they'll be able to do the figure 8, possibly figure out a way to do the figure 16 by grabbing the wrist or something.
Yep.
I don't know. Like Rick is the best at it. Charlotte with the bridge, it's still the most. When Charlotte puts the bridge on, it's still the most protected submission finisher that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely,
untouchable right there. I hate when Cody and people like that do it, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the move that beat your dad.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Canada Dry, your thoughts on the figure 4?
I'm still not over that helicopter incident on Dark Side of the Ring. Not ready.
Oh, the plane ride from hell?
Yeah, I'm not ready to forgive him yet. So I'm going to go with Greg the Hammer Valentine, where he turned his shin pad around.
Yep.
And made it more devastating. I could never actually pull this move off properly. That's why I was so happy when the sharpshooter came out because it was easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, submission wrestling is a specialty, guys, and there are not many wrestlers that can and will do a great job when it comes to submission wrestling. For those gifted technical wrestlers that we all love and enjoy, the fact that they got to work that area during the match before they slap it on, and that figure 4 just looks painful, and it looks painful when it's wrapped around the post and you're yanking back on it and you're yanking back on it. To me, Flair is and will always go down as he'll go down as it. Buddy Rogers invented it. Flair perfected it, how it's done. And it's just, with him just wrenching on that leg. And, Buddy Rogers is a great wrestler, but it will always be Flair's move to me, at least. So, all right, let's go to number 3, as voted by our fans on Twitter. We're going to go to number 3.
Look who's back!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Code Breaker. Knees to face, ladies and gentlemen. That is the name of the game. I'm going to go wax poetic on this one really quickly. Sometimes you innovate one move in your career if you're lucky. Then you're freaking Chris Jericho and you innovate 2. And Alex Haney hates it.
A surprise, Alex Haney hates it.
The fall-away knee to the face was christened the Code Breaker by Jericho, and a new move was created. It was invented, born out of boredom, and something different and something new for him to do. There are tons of wrestlers who are using it on the indies. Ricochet uses it. FTR uses it as part of their shatter machine. Oscar uses his signature. Fruit Cat's in the shot.
He's on the
It's
show.
Fruit Cat. Gotta love Fruit Cat, just chilling with us. But this will always be Chris Jericho's finishing move, at least in the later part of his years. So, Canada Dry, take it away.
When Chris Jericho brought this move to WWE, I instantly fell in love because of what is this? And the name is just great because of what he had going on, the Code Breaker. I love that move. I'm sad that he's not doing it very much anymore. He used to do it every match, but I love that move so much, and it's Chris Jericho. It's great.
What do you think, Trey?
I used to love the fact that Chris Jericho would catch people coming, like trying to enter the ring, coming in over the second rope, and just catch them with it. So I've always loved this move. I think it was great. I like the fact that I think it actually helped extend his career a little bit longer. Compared to things like the Lion Salt and other things like that. And you didn't want people kicking out of the Lion Tamer too many times. So it definitely gave him a lot more shelf life with that. But I also want to touch on Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah.
Tessa hits the Magnum, named after her stepfather, Magnum TA. Which is basically an off the top rope code breaker. Yeah. And like the first time I had seen her do it, I mean, it was on Ty Valkyrie, and I mean, she jumped halfway across the ring.
Yeah.
To do it. And it was just, this was it. And this was back when, like, I think we can all agree Tessa was the hottest thing in the sport.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And when you first saw it, I mean, granted, like everything that has gone on since then has definitely been rough for her, but in the ring?
Yep.
I mean, when she hit Sami Callihan with it like 3 times in a match. Yep. She was hitting, like, this is when she was wrestling, guys, girls, everybody. She didn't matter. She was hitting the Magnum on somebody, and that made that move incredible because the different ways that she could, the simplicity of it made it look different every time.
Yep, absolutely.
I also want to shout out to Chris Jericho's code breaker when they're jumping off the top rope. He's done that a few times.
Yes,
code breaker.
But for her, she took it to another level with the Magnum.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, let's get to our final two. Our number 2, as voted by the fans of Just Another Effing Podcast, I present.
Wait a minute. The legs of Papa Shango up. Will we see the sharpshooter? Red Hart trying to get it on. And will he get it? Yes. Yes. Don't give up. Don't give up. It's all yours if you don't give up. Come on. Hold on. Oh, more pressure applied. Straighten up. You can get out of it. It's over.
The sharpshooter, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to wax poetic on this real quick. When you think of iconic submission wrestlers and their even more iconic submission moves, you think of the little bell lock with Bryan Danielson, the figure 4, and then the granddaddy of them all, the infamous sharpshooter or the scorpion deathlock.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything until you referred to it by its proper name.
Yes, so. It is. It was created by Ricky Chozo.
This is what's going to get you not invited back.
It was created by Ricky Chozo, and this move is basically a modified Texas cloverleaf, with the wrestler either sitting back or standing once they get the locked in. It's mostly associated with a lot of Canadian wrestlers, especially for the pop, because that way they can pay homage, if you will, to, of course, Bret Hart, who did really honestly made it to the forefront for American wrestlers. Sting, if you were in the South, Bret Hart, if you were in the North. Those were the two guys that kind of bared the torch from Ricky Chozo. I choose, of course, Bret the Hitman Hart. Not that I don't think Sting is any less. It's just very different. I love the way that Bret Hart goes and sits down and really bends that leg and really puts a lot of torque on it. To me, that just a little bit better than Sting's, which is a standing version of it. So, Trey J, go for it, baby.
So I gotta say, like, as you guys can tell, I'm definitely a Sting person.
Yeah.
And I was, and that's because I remember Sting doing it before I ever saw Bret Hart doing it. That's not saying that I think that like it's a time situation, but there's also something to be said when you see the taller wrestlers do that move.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Rock's version of the sharpshooter is ugly.
Yeah.
But when he sits back, though, and he's such a big guy, you guys got 6'5", sitting back on that move, it's like, dang, he is going to break somebody. But definitely Sting, Bret Hart, not just for the move itself and how devastating it is, but just for the moments that we remember. We remember Bret Hart having Stone Cold in that move and Stone Cold bleeding profusely from the head and all that stuff. Like, we remember the Montreal Screwjob. You know, we remember all of those things. We remember, what was it, Bret Hart and Sting at different times putting Randy Savage in the sharpshooters to Scorpion Deathlock. It's like those things, those people. You know, the only person that I wish Bret Hart could have got once was Hogan. Wish could have got Hogan in that move, but seeing Sting do it, you know, does my heart good.
Canada Dry. I don't even have to take a guess on who you're picking for sharpshooter.
No, I'm torn actually.
Yeah.
Between Bret Hart and Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Because Owen Hart did the move just as good as Bret, if not better.
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
That torque he had when he put that move on was amazing. He really made it look real. But since Bret was the one who made it famous, I'm going with Bret Hart, who does the move much better than Sting. Yeah. I don't think Sting has a very good wrestler at all. I mean, it's a hot take here.
Oh, geez. You might get kicked off the show.
I can't get kicked off my own.
Hey, how many days is it until December 8th? Just real quick, how many days is it till December 8th?
It's like 4 days, I think.
Just remember.
Hey, save it for the bottle repo. I think Sting is a great showman. And he, you know, like coming down from the rafters, but when he applies that the deathlock, it doesn't look like it's hurting.
Yeah,
it's just my thoughts on that. Bret Hart, nobody does it better. When you think of that move, you think of Bret.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go to our number one as voted by the fans. This is probably the most controversial. There were a lot of people who did not like that we put this in the top four to be voted on.
Also liked it.
People voted. So this was number one. I give to you the number one finisher of all time. We are talking about the GTS, the go to sleep. Trey J, wax poetic on the beauties of the GTS.
I can only wax poetic if you allow me to also talk about the GTH.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. That move is so great because it's a move that no matter how you look at it, there's nobody can say if I got hit with that, it wouldn't hurt. Like there's no way to like that move adds a touch of realism. That move is definitely gets a boost by the credibility of the people who have used it. But to say that gravity plus a knee flying at your face is not a great move. I mean, you know, come on now. It's
the Philistines.
It is exactly what it is.
Yep. Canada Dry.
Punk says, at least you didn't use Punk.
Alex Haney, I love you.
So I was going to say CM Punk,
but
I'm not going to because there is someone new in AEW who I think does the move better than him.
Okay.
Sammy effing Guevara.
Sammy Guevara.
Yeah. Okay.
When he does that move, it just you believe that the guy's really freaking hurt. And,
yeah.
Just everything Sammy does is good though. Like I think that he's worthy of that TNT championship, and he's a hell of a wrestler. Shout out Dallas. We're giving Sammy Guevara some love here, so you better be watching.
Yeah, no
Definitely.
kidding. Seriously.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
for me, the GTS was first introduced to me by CM Punk. I won't lie. Even though I am a huge mark for Japanese wrestling, but the one guy who does it the best, and then when I say the best, I mean he does it to the point where it looks like he's hurting his opponent, and that is Kenta, all capital letters, Kenta.
How did Haney know what you were going to pick?
I don't know, because me and Haney, we even though we diabolically differ quite a bit, we do think alike on a lot of stuff.
Well, you both like the Japan, and you both like the old school stuff. So
yeah, I mean Kenta, there are matches where Kenta hits it, and it legitimately looks like he knocked the guy straight out, and very well could have. And to me, that's the true finishing move, is when you can legitimately knock out an opponent. Because I mean, knee to a face, it doesn't feel good. I mean, I've taken a knee to the face multiple times playing soccer. It ain't fun. It sucks. It sucks big bad balls. I don't suggest it to everybody. If you're looking for something for Christmas, don't ask Santa Claus for a knee to the face. It does not feel good. All right, guys, that wraps it up. We have concluded our top 10 finishers of all time. And to be honest with you, yeah, there was some controversy. There was some bickering and arguing between me and Canada Dry, but we are like blood brothers. Nothing can separate us.
Like
even
this, I mean like this.
Yes, yeah, not like this, not like this. We are like this. We are close as you can get. So no amount of shenanigans and shit talking between the two of us will ever break us apart.
And we'd love to have Trey J back on the show. He was.
Oh yeah, Trey J, you are welcome.
I'd love to be back. This was so much fun.
Maybe we can have you as a monthly guest.
Of course, yeah.
We'll have official chair of residence, if you will.
Snap.
For Trey J to come on whenever he wants. You just ask and we'll have you on, brother. Not a problem in the world. As always, you can find us on fnwrestling.com, where you can find all our social media feeds. You can find us on, thank you, Alex Haney. It was a great show. You're always a great commentator, a great comment guy, and always a great guest as well. You can find us on prowrestlingtees.com/fnwrestling. Buy a shirt, regardless of whether you buy one of ours, support that company. It's a small business, and especially this time of the years, small businesses are not getting the same love that Amazon and Walmart and all those are getting. You have a wrestling fan in your life, whether you know it or not. Go to prowrestlingtees.com, help a fellow wrestler, and get a tee. Help effing wrestling and get a tee too. Darsh on it. We got the effing wrestling.
We got our other show we're airing tonight, and that is Wrestling with the Paranormal. So tune in for that.
What are you guys talking about?
We are discussing possessed dolls.
Oh, like Annabelle.
Yes, but there's 3 stories we're going to tell tonight and discuss if they're fake or real. We're going to wrestle with it. We're going to talk about the episode is called "The Devils in the Dolls."
Yeah, well, there's not much in this world that freaks out the JFB. Possessed dolls is one of them. Also clowns. So don't like clowns. Don't like possessed dolls either.
Well, yeah, those old looking dolls are always the creepiest too.
Oh yeah, the porcelain dolls with the eyes open. And screw that crap.
Creepy.
That's a good way for me to run out of your house screaming. So like I said, fnwrestling.com. You can find us on there. You can find us at Pro Wrestling Tees. Wrestling with the Paranormal is tonight. Is there a Bottle Depot as well tonight?
The Bottle Depot is coming up, and that's just on our AFW page.
Yep.
So, you can watch that
join the AFW page and start predicting. Maybe you can be the one that dethrones Trey J Styles. I doubt it because that man is hot on the mic and hot in predicting, but you never know. So in the meantime, and speaking of which, with it Christmas and everything and the gift of giving and people coming together, have you heard from Hulk Hogan in this time of merriment and cheer?
Actually, I have.
Wow.
Hulk Hogan responded to me and
Really?
said he's going to be on a future episode to discuss all this stuff that we've he's a little bit hot at us for the way we're talking to him.
Yeah.
But he said he's going to come on the show. But in the meantime, you're not on this show, so you lose, Hulk Hogan. So that's Effin' Wrestling 362. Hulk Hogan 0. Canada Dry out.